Hello everyone. So in this video we want to write the appropriate Lewis structure for the species of CSOH. So because CSOH is an ionic compound, we have to go ahead and draw out the Lewis structures for the cation and anion separately. We first need to determine the total number of valence electrons that correspond to each ion. And we do have to add one valence electron for every negative charge and subtract one valence electron for every positive charge. So for our anion here, that's an OH minus. So oxygen does have 6 valence electrons and hydrogen has 1. So we get 7 valence electrons. Again, if we have that negative charge, then we add 1 valence electron for every negative charge. So we'll just add 1 here. That gives us a total of 8 valence electrons for this particular ion. So let's first draw the sigma bond framework. So that's just easily oxygen single bond proton or hydrogen. Now we have to complete the octet using lone pairs. So to determine the formal charge for each atom, we can go ahead and do this later. Let's just first focus on the octet. So again, we have 8 valence electrons. This bond between the oxygen and hydrogen here is 2 valence electrons already, so we need 6 valence electrons still. We know that hydrogen here follows the duet rule, so it only needs 2 bonds or 2 electrons, which it already does from the bond. So the remaining 6 will just be 3 lone pairs on our oxygen. Now calculating for our formal charge, we do have a formula for this. So formal charge will just simplify to Fc. So the formula here is equal to the group number minus the sum of the bonds, or the number of bonds, plus the number of non-bonding electrons. All right, so for our oxygen atom here, it will have a negative formal charge. Then, of course, our metal, CS, that's just CS plus. So that's our structure for our cation. Now to make this more formal, for any ions that we have, we need to put it in brackets. So for our cation first, again, we have CS, and then we have a +1 charge. So just have a singular plus here. Usually when we just have a +1 or -1 charge, we don't actually write out the 1. So now that we have the cation part, let's go ahead and add in our anion. Again, that's just our O single bond hydrogen. And then the oxygen here has 3 lone pairs, which gives it a -1 formal charge. And of course our closing bracket for our ions here. So this is going to be my final answer for this problem. Again, we have open bracket CS plus, close bracket. Then open bracket again, we have our OH with 3 lone pairs on the oxygen, giving the oxygen a -1 formal charge, and then close bracket. So that's going to be our appropriate Lewis structure for our species CSOH.